Hello there, Fluttershy401 here, and I'm gonna do my first dramatic reading. Why? Because I feel like it. Okay, I'm gonna read to you today a fic called Pwnification. Yes, as in ponage, mixed with ification, to make pwnification. Chapter 1. Okay, here we go. Chapter 1. The air was clean and beautiful. Trees and flowers littered the entire landscape. Business was booming for the locals. Everyone knew each other and was really nice. You always had a friend when you needed one. There were no worries as children scampered around playing tag, hide and seek, or kick the can. The local innkeeper always told stories to the little ones around his fire in the back. He usually gave free meals to the poorer folk, mostly the older members of the booming community who couldn't work for themselves. It was a good town, Jackson Town, and walking through it every day on my way home from school was the best. When I leave the town, though, I continue my mile walk all the way to Pittsville, the polar opposite of Jackson Town. Instead of being littered by trees and flowers, it was littered by trash and dog crap. I was an upstanding member of the community at school and at home. I deserved to live in Jackson Town. Unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees, as they say, and all the money from my side work goes toward making money for dinner for my little sister, as my dad is too damn drunk half the time to acknowledge our existence. Life sincerely sucked, to be blunt, and it sucked even more when my dad beat her to death. She's only 4. I was at school and he did it. He always threatened to beat one of us for the stupidest reasons. I always told her to stay in her room and not disturb him during his drunken rage. But telling by the police vehicles outside my house, I could tell she didn't listen. By his claims, he didn't beat her, and intruders caught both of them off guard. It was obvious he was lying, though. You could tell by his little grin as he looked at me, as if asserting his superiority. He didn't appreciate me taking care of the whole family of 3. But what was I supposed to do? Starve? I lived by myself in that same house. I'm only 17, but I was able to pass off 18, as my birthday was the following week. I didn't want to be in foster care. Heck, I took care of myself pretty good already. Would it really be that different? It was. Without her smiling face pulling me through, I felt like I was walking dead. I stopped going to school for days, until while looking for some food I found my sister's old doll. If she saw me like this, what would she think of me? I had to keep pushing through. I thought about quitting school and getting a full-time job, but Mom always stressed good education before she had an accident when I was in 5th grade. I kept going, for her. It was the Monday of my birth week, when a bunch of my friends challenged me to watch some new TV show. Ever since I started living by myself, I had to cut cable and electricity to conserve cash. There I was in a rough spot. Were they rubbing it in?
Dude, I really think it'll help you out. Put a smile to your face, make you feel better.
You mean make me look like a little girl who liked playing with dolls? I really could care less about my appearance in school. I looked like a dump and I smelled like one too. Heck, the soup kitchen actually let me in once. Must have looked really convincing. Hell of a lot better than a bit of cheese and crackers. Yet, the idea that I would watch some kids show was really unusual. Why were they watching it? Was it really that good? Or were they just trying to come out of the closet? I really didn't want to be a part of the process. But out of curiosity and sheer boredom, I went to the local library and looked up My Little Pony for the first time. I found myself watching for hours until I was caught up with the entire show. I envied the little ponies. They lived in a place like Jackson Town. It was bright and welcoming. Each of the ponies had no parents living with them, except Applejack, but she lives on the family farm, so there's no surprise. Yet they were happy and content with their friends. The entire town was friendly. In my town, you could walk the entire stretch and see not one smile. But in the show, everyone smiled. How I wished and pleaded to be there. I apologized to my friends about calling them gay, and we talked forever about the fandom and all aspects of the MLP universe. I even started reading fanfics, but either they were very perverted or very dark. I didn't need more darkness in my life, and I don't really see the appeal in fapping to ponies. I mean, they're like mini horses. What parts of them are sexy? The anatomy in most of them doesn't even make sense. I don't wish to watch an Animal Planet documentary on horse mating, but I know that it isn't the same as human sex, and so I choose to avoid them and only enjoy a few fics. Now, I do not claim to be the biggest fan. There are kids way crazier in love with the series than me. They buy all the toys and stream each episode in 1080 pixels a minute it's on. I'm a casual fan of the series, but what happens next was only worthy of those big-time fans. More amazing than anything I've ever seen. Yet I'm glad to have taken the journey. It's January. Naturally, it's so cold I can make my own snot in popsicle sticks. I noticed at the border of Jacksontown and Pittsville a heat wave. You know how when you look at cooking food like bacon and it generates so much heat that you see waves in the air above it? Well, that's what I saw. The snow around the area was completely melted and flowers grew in the patches. All the other kids who lived in Pittsville, who were walking by, were completely oblivious to the phenomenon but me. So I walked up to it and noticed that when I got closer, there was a small circle in the middle of this patch of Eden. It was about as big as an eye. Upon closer inspection, it appeared that colors flashed out of the hole. These colors, while shining on me, left my heart at ease, and I felt at peace. Then I heard some talking.
Pinkie Pie, stop knocking over my books!
Screamed the voice of a familiar violet pony. At first I thought I was hearing things. Someone must have been watching the show on their iPod as they were walking by. As I looked around, no one was around, and it was getting dark fast. I've stood in the same spot for 2 hours. I picked at my ears, rubbed at my eyes, and looked down the hole as I saw the bright pink pony jumping off the walls.
And then the elements went whoosh and made a hole in your ceiling. Told you it wasn't my fault, Twi.
Even if you're telling the truth, Pinkie, how do you know where the hole leads to? It isn't nighttime, and my room is on the second floor of the library anyway.
There's only one way to find out.
Pinkie promptly took some tools from Twilight's science kit. She then gingerly tried to pry the hole open, not noticing me on the other end. She stared into the hole, slowly making it expand with a blank look, like she couldn't see me. Suddenly, I hear the innkeeper from the Jacksontown Inn call his dog for some food, and in the mad rush, the mud shoved into me, pushing me into the hole. My body mass kept the hole open, as the two ponies now had a good view of my upper body, now sticking out of the ceiling.
Ooh, wow, a guest! He's an alien too, look at him!
Exclaimed Pinkie, a bit too excited about the visit. Twilight was looking all right. She witnessed all the science she believed in disappear as I was wiggling helplessly in her roof. I finally got myself loose and was gonna pull out, but so much of my weight was leaning forward that instead I fell into the hole, and it closed behind me. I landed straight on my head and was knocked out with a panicked hoof to the face via Twilight. The innkeeper approached to investigate me, seeing my head being caught in the snow. Yet, when I fell in, he noticed my disappearance and walked back inside, assuming he was seeing things. I awoke in a strange medical ward with staring ponies all focused on me. Included in the list are Twilight and the Princess Celestia. I wanted to bow down right away, so I hopped out of the stretcher and took a knee. This startled everyone in the room until they realized the gesture I was making toward their princess, and she smiled.
I see you know me.
Know you? Everyone who's a I stopped myself. What if they don't know about being on TV? How they're just cartoons drawn up for the pleasure of little girls, as well as older people like me. I didn't want to diminish their entire way of life. Heck, maybe the entire show is based on this, the real Equestria. Yet, he still wasn't sure he was there. All he had seen was the inside of a treehouse in this weird medical ward.
I'm less curious about how you know me, but more curious about how you got here,
inquired the princess. Right. All I remember before being stomped in the face by a certain pony was that I fell into this hole and I met Twilight. Twilight couldn't help but interrupt with apologies as Celestia calmed her and says that it was a normal reaction.
How do you know her name?
Inquired Celestia. I wasn't going to be able to explain myself truthfully to the princess without ruining their whole world, so I asked if she could dismiss everybody so we could talk privately. When everyone left, I explained the entire situation to the princess and Twilight. The princess was quiet and understanding, and never interrupted me. When I was finished, she explained herself.
You are not the first of humankind to come here. Every time we have had to resort to using the elements of harmony to stop evil, the shockwave of its power creates small holes in our world, eventually being discovered by someone. Heck, my lead advisor was once human. He advises me of paranormal events like the one you are part of,
stated Celestia. What do you mean by once human? I asked worriedly.
Well, it might be better for him to tell you. Hey, Jameson, come in.
An old pony walked in. You could tell he had little to no vision, but he could still tell my body's shape and was pleasantly surprised. I thought you were showing me the human.
I am.
Shocked, I self-evaluated myself, and I had not changed into a pony. Yet, if this was the human, will I eventually become ponified? I gave him a look of concern. I couldn't tell if he understood my facial expressions or not, but it seemed he did as he explained.
During your second day here, the magic holding together all Equestria will turn you into a pony to keep balance, since humans aren't supposed to be here. This change is permanent, and to protect other ponies, I will not allow you to go back to where you came from. The princess has the power to return you home. You need to decide now. Will you be staying with us in Equestria?
And that's about it for part 1. I already have part 2 recorded, so I'm just I'm probably gonna add that one after I add this one. Just saying. Thanks for listening, and bye. See you next time, sometime, if you're seeing this, which I hope you are. Yeah, I'll stop bugging you now.